items in a different order than they appear on the agenda. Michael, would you like to start with the town administrator report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. From our last get-together, May 16th through June 6th, I had a couple of WATD interviews before each of our meetings. We had department head meeting for the month of May. We had weekly police OAC, owner, architect, and contractor meeting, discussed the move-in, substantial completion dates, bathroom floors, final cleanup, and ongoing project items with the DPW construction project, the foundation, the underground conduit, and the septic. I had a meeting with Karen Paulette, our veterans agent, to discuss Memorial Day activities. Weekly meeting with Fred Russell, our facilities director. Update on school projects, update on the town hall project, update on moving the generator from the police station to the library, and update on fire department headquarters bathrooms. I did a taping with MCTV at Town Hall on the clinic with the free PCR testing. I had a luncheon meeting with Selectman Kilcoyne to discuss some issues. Meeting with conservation commissioners, including the chair and town council, and Danielle Kerrigan, our HR director, to review some issues that happened at a previous CONCON meeting. FY22 weekly budget review with Ann Bastille, our town accountant. As the fiscal year winds down, I want to keep an eye on budgetary numbers. Bi-weekly meeting with the fire chief and Ann Bastille to review the fire budget and overtime. Levitate concert prep meeting at the EOC with police and other agencies as we prepare for that great event. Meeting with Danielle Kerrigan and Cindy Marcoux to discuss some personnel issues and filling vacancies. A couple of the members from the Board of Trustees attended that meeting. Meeting with Fred Russell and Paul Williams Construction, to review plans for the town hall renovations that include the 4 new bathrooms, a new chamber, and relocation of some offices. Photo opportunity and meeting with District Attorney Cruz, Harbor Master Mike DeMeo, and Chief Tavares as we kicked off Memorial Day weekend regarding boating safety and BUI, which is boating under the influence. We have signs down there to warn people. Another photo with District Attorney Cruz, a check presentation for Grad Night Live at Marshfield High School. Participation, and Andrew Stewart did his final presentation of his floodplain permit process with the department heads before going live. We're actually live now. People can apply for their floodplain permits on and pay a $50 fee. Working on final dog park approval for design prior to getting the sign-off from the Stanton Foundation. In fact, we're having a meeting tomorrow evening with our building committee to approve the final plan so that we can get the bid documents prepared and get ready to go out to bid. Participated in Coastal Resiliency Workshop on May 26th with Select Person Kilcoyne to hear about the draft long-term plans for protecting Marshfield with coastal resiliency. Weekly meeting with PMA, the town's owner project manager, and Fred Russell, our facility director, to review issues regarding the continuation of police and DPW capital projects. Meeting with Bill Grafton and Jay Ostrokowski of 219 Ridge Road to discuss dumping in the salt marsh without permits. Did a police station walkthrough to review some final issues that need to be resolved before the substantial completion date of June 13th. Meeting and field visit to Metuxet Woods regarding some encroachment with neighbors was attended by the police, the fire department, DPW, town administrator, facilities, conservation commission, and planning. Land to be resurveyed, and boundary markers to be installed, and a gate and fence. I worked to secure 30 cases of home test kits from the Plymouth Fire Department that we'll be using at our drive-through this weekend. We'll have more of that when I do the update on the clinics. Phone and email with Joe McDonald regarding encroachment and cleaning, engineering and access issues regarding his street, and meeting with Select Person Lynn Fiddler to review some issues of concern, and attended the annual TIC fundraiser at Barker Tavern. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. And then do you want to dive into the vaccination and testing clinic?
Yes, just to give everyone an update, since we've been doing it here back at Town Hall. To date, we've administered 1,121 vaccines, 82 PCR tests, averaging 20 to 40 vaccine patients each day that we're open, with an additional 5 to 10 vaccine walk-ins. On Saturday, this Saturday, June 11th, from 9 to 3 in the Town Hall parking lot, we'll be doing a drive-through inoculation. People can come and get their vaccine either for the first time, or they can be getting their first and second booster. They're going to go home with free home test kits, and if they're sick, they can get a free PCR test.
Awesome. And is that particular to Marshfield residents, or is it the whole Commonwealth?
Anyone can come.
Awesome.
Anyone can come.
Thanks, Michael. Jim, do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Lynn?
Nope.
All right, we'll do 12 first. Michael, are you here for the acceptance of the donation of the annual tick treatment service?
Yes.
Cool.
A couple of things.
Sure, you want to do that one first? Awesome. Okay. Yeah, sure, if that works for you.
So this was a Marshfield company that wanted to donate some tick spraying services to Harbor Park. He was getting complaints locally from park and ticks in the area, so he donated services. I think it was like $240 a year to maintain that, so that was a nice service. Any questions or?
No, we
Yeah.
appreciate the donation. Seems pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah, yeah, and also too, the Harbor Park actually has his own gift account as well.
That's awesome.
So, in case like for seeding and fertilizer, things like that. So mulching, things like that. So it just kind of adds right onto that process. So it's kind of good.
Yeah, another great thing for Albert Park.
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions or comments, Jim? Nope. Lynn?
Nope.
Alrighty.
Nice donation.
Yeah. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Harbor Master to accept the donation of 3 spraying treatments for ticks for Harbor Park from John Valier, who is the president of Secure Environments of Pembroke, which is a value of
$240. I forgot the period.
We're
Oh,
good.
no problem. $240.
That's a lot of spring.
Yeah. How much? All right,
A lot
is
of
there
ticks.
Yeah, it is. $240. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. All right. What else are you here for, Mike?
I'm here for
Thanks,
the Ridge Road dock replacement project that was out to bid. We had 2 bids come back for that. We have a apparent low bidder.
Yep.
It's within budget. And this was a project that started over 2 years ago, but last year with COVID and supply chain issues with wooden projects, it was float container. It was hard to pin it down. So now we have the quote in hand and we're ready to get going on it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Mike. Any questions or comments, Jim?
No, I do not on the dog project.
All right, Lynn?
Nope.
Perfect. All right, so I'll make a motion to award the contract for the Ridge Road dock replacement to Beacon Marine Construction LLC. The low bid for bid alternate A for the amount of $66,960. Upon notification of the award by the Select Board, Amory Engineers will forward copies of the agreement and contract bonds to Beacon Marine Construction for completion. Is there a second?
I would second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Awesome.
And Mr. Chairman, one other item while Harbor Master is here, item 11.
Perfect.
Harbor Master DeMayo stepped up to be the alternative member.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Nicely done, Mike.
You want something done, ask a busy person, so it's fine.
Yeah, you got nothing better to do right now.
Then, real quick, if we can discuss item 5.
Sure.
That's the annual duck jury that the town has behind Rexham Beach in the South River.
Yep.
We support that from the water side every year as well. It's a good event. It's pretty neat to see the ducks go in the water and pick the winner. So I have no issues with that, and it's run seamlessly every year. So
Awesome.
I'm
Thanks, Mike.
in full support of that.
Any questions or comments on 11 or 5, Jim?
No, I want to thank you for donating your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. All right, so I'll do 11 first. The board moves to appoint Harbor Master Mike DeMayo as an alternate representative of the North River Commission from the town of Marshfield. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and then number 5. I'll make a motion to approve the request of Kim Maruka of 28 Rayfield Road on behalf of Goodwill Hunters for a temporary one-day entertainment license to host the Duck Derby on Wrexham Beach on September 25th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with recorded music, pending approval by the Marshfield Police Department, the Board of Health, the Building Department, and the Marshfield Fire Department. Is there a second?
I will second that as well.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
It's going to be a ducky night.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a nice evening.
All right, and then Jenna, this is a great way to spend your day off, so we'll do 3 next and help you guys get out of here. So it's the annual peddler's license for CJ Haddad, or Christopher Haddad, for the record. Did you want to give us a quick elevator pitch to our massive viewing audience? Yeah.
Trying to get a license for a food truck.
Perfect, yeah. Pretty straightforward. All your paperwork's in order, so. Any questions or comments, Jim?
No, I went
Awesome.
through this, it looks great, no questions, no comments.
Awesome. Lynn?
All set?
All right, sweet. So I will go ahead.
Off guard here.
Yeah, sorry. We're bouncing around today. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the request of Christopher Haddad of 76 Emerson Road for an annual peddler's license to operate a food truck from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week for catering as well as private events, pending property taxes being paid, and all that good stuff. All right, is there a second?
I would like to second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right, perfect. All right, thanks. Just make sure you give good pours, Jenna, when you work in the food truck. All right, our first appointment at 6:40 is the recognition for our Person of the Year and our Business Leader of the Year. So we wanted to recognize and give a citation to, of course, all you fine folks in our audience tonight. If you want to come up, we'll give you a citation and do a quick photo, and get you guys on your way. Let's do it. Perfect.
They're on the corner over there.
Perfect. All right. Michael is our expert photographer who does this for free.
Yeah, you were so busy.
We'll be here next week.
Oh, perfect.
Our next meeting, yeah.
Awesome.
See you later.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, Michael, we can take care of you. We've got you for two items on here, right?
Stay for the rest of it, it's very,
All right, sweet.
very interesting.
Let's date that.
Oh, beautiful. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
What a great start, right? What's more romantic than a select board meeting?
Sit around on Monday. Thank you so much.
All right, hey Mike, how you doing? Good. Do you need me to come up? If you want to, if you don't have to, whatever you prefer. So we're just looking at action number, item number 8, which is a discussion and a vote for a temporary wine and malt license for Stellwagen Beer Company, and it's for 10 dates at the Green Harbor Lobster Pound. And then number 9 is a discussion and a vote on application for a temporary wine and malt license for Stellwagen Beer Company, and that date's going to be June 25th, 2022 at D.H. Smith and Son. So all your paperwork seems to be in order. You know, we've done a lot of these for you guys, so did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just figured, good to be back here in person, so.
Yeah, right.
If there were any questions, but, yeah, just, we did our first one at Green Harbor Lobster Pound, last Tuesday, and it went great. That's kind of our test drive for, do the series, so,
Awesome.
went well.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Mike. Do you have any questions or comments,
No, I heard
Jim?
it went well, I mean, I love the fact that, 100, 150 people, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's why we chose Tuesdays, it was kind of a day that might otherwise be slow for us and them, and kind of.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, other than that, Mr. Chairman, no. No,
Awesome.
It's great to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments, Lynn?
All good, yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, so we'll do number 8 first. I'll make a motion to approve 10 temporary one-day wine and malt applications for Michael Snowdale of Stellwagen Beer Company, LLC, located at 100 Enterprise Drive, for the 10 events to be held at the Green Harbor Lobster Pound, located at 131 Beach Street, on the following dates: June 21st, June 28th, July 12th, July 19th, July 26th, August 2nd, August 9th, August 16th, August 23rd, and August 30th, 2022, from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m., pending approval of the Marshfield Police Department and the Marshfield Fire Department. Liquor liability insurance will need to be provided prior to the events, and the staff will all be tips trained. Is there a second?
I'll second that, definitely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 9, I'll make a motion to approve a temporary one-day wine and malt application for Michael Snowdale of Stellwagen Beer Company, LLC, located at 100 Enterprise Drive for an event on June 25th from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. at D.H. Smith & Sons, located at 887 Plain Street. Liquor liability insurance will need to be provided prior to the event. Staff will be tips trained, pending approval from the Marshfield Police Department and the Marshfield Fire Department. Is there a second?
All right, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, perfect. Thanks, Mike. Have a great night. All right,
It's coming and doing that. It's great.
Yeah, and we're at 6:45, so we can get to our next appointment. Appreciate you guys coming in. I'm sure you have more exciting things to do than to come and do a select board appointment, but appreciate you guys coming by. So if you want to sit up front, if that works better for you, or back there, whichever you guys prefer.
As long as we can hear you, that would be good.
We'll stand as house we are.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, you guys project pretty well, so it'll be fine. All right, awesome. So what we'll do is I have like a list of like educational questions, if that's okay for you guys. And what we'll do is once you guys answer it, if you have a follow-up, Jim or Lynn, for that particular question, I'll ask you. But then once I get through my list, the floor is yours, Jim, for your own separate questions, and the floor is yours, Lynn, for your own separate questions that you feel like we didn't cover.
All right.
All right, so basically, first one's a big historical overview. Can you guys give us kind of like a brief history of Marshfield sewer system? You know, how old it is, roughly how many houses, and kind of our capacity presently, and then when we did our last expansion, kind of things of that nature. If you guys want to kind of do a broad brush and touch on that.
Sure. The system right now is roughly 40 years old. We have about 4,700 customers, which is about less than half of our water customers. So, you know, that 47 represents along the water, up in the hills, there's no sewer, it's all septic up there. The capacity, there's room to add capacity right now for wastewater. Water, we're getting close to our safe yield, but the wastewater plant was built roughly in the late 70s. It's time now that we've been doing upgrades. 40 years of this, 40 years ago, the cement, asbestos concrete was used as the material for the pipes. At the time, it was supposed to be the new material that's going to last forever. Well, I'm telling you, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's concrete. It's in brackish water along the ocean. So some of it is starting to deteriorate. We do have ductile iron pipe, our force mains, but we're looking at it closer and closer now going forward. And one of the reasons why we've asked for a new Vector and a new camera truck is so that we can stay on top of the inspections. We don't want to happen here in Marshfield is what happened in Plymouth, where there wasn't maintenance and the whole system corroded, and it was roughly $60 million to replace it. I don't think we're in that type of a predicament.
I just want to have
Go ahead.
During my tenure, both as a town engineering staff member and also as a superintendent, we did have a program on the gravity mains, which are the asbestos cement pipe, where we were slip lining them with what's called cured-in-place polyester pipe. And that program went forward while we had capital funding for it. So the system has been going. There is one portion, which basically is the Sewer 2000 project, which at this point is roughly 20 years old, that is basically polyvinyl pipe.
Polyvinyl.
So it's probably not going to be experiencing, to the best of our knowledge and the experience of the world, the issues we're dealing with the asbestos cement pipe, and also, the cured-in-place pipe should last as long as it has a good first place where it went into the asbestos. Eventually, it cures up and it's strong and should remain without too much trouble. And I think you should touch on what we're doing for the force main or chemical.
Yeah, well, I just, the system stops here at 3A and Ocean Street here. It goes up to the Housing Authority building. They're actually looking to get the back buildings on now. So they're looking to add on. But that's pretty much the just a rough ballpark.
Yeah. That's perfect, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. The original plant, I think, entered operation in '78, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
Late 70s.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Late
78.
70s,
In
78.
1978 is, I believe, the year that they actually put the current processing plant for septic and sewage into service down off of Dyke Road.
Thank you. Jim, did you have any follow-up on that particular topic?
No, in general, I think, Mr. Chairman, I'll just sort of hold a lot of my
Sure.
comments to the end, so I understand all the answers to, the kind of official questions. The only one quick thing I have, though, is, you said there's still room to increase on the sewer side for the plant?
There's still this capacity to add users.
What do you think the percent utilization is for the plant? Is it, and when does it have to be, is it like at like 90%, you have to figure about, expanding it, or, I'm
We're
sure you
permanent-
know it, I don't know these,
We're permitted for a certain amount per day. Once we reach that amount, which we're not close to right yet, but once we reach that amount, we have to reapply for new permits. And that is very, very difficult.
so you have capacity, it would be a permitting issue.
It would be, to add capacity is a permitting issue,
It's
yes.
beyond what the plant is currently designed for. And right now, we have room for additional sewage within the capacity of the plant as
Within
it
the
is.
capacity, right, but
Within
you
the
have to re-permit as well.
If we were to, say, big development, and we wanted to sewer the rest of the town, that might be prohibitive because of what our permit is. And plus, we take Situate and Duxbury.
Basically, Hummer Rock is feeding into our system, as is a portion of Duxbury down toward Duxbury Beach.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have any follow-up questions on that, Lynn?
I am interested in that percentage amount, what is available, is there a ballpark number on where you are?
This would be subject to check. The last time I remember having a conversation, it was someplace in the neighborhood, we were at about 70 to 80% of capacity.
Okay,
One of the things we did have is a program, and still have, for what we call influence and I&I.
Yeah.
In flow and in leakage. And basically, one of the issues we always dealt with, and so far this year is probably a lesser problem, is where people had sump pumps in that beach area and they had illegal connections into the sewer system. And then we get that has a double effect. Along with increasing capacity, it reduces the bacteria and makes it harder to clean up the sewage before we put it out, the outfall.
And a lot of that comes from some pumps that are in Duxbury and Situate. It affects the treatment process. So we've been working with Duxbury to try to get a little bit more information on what people might have. It's tough to get into those homes.
Yeah.
They put it in there, they have a slop sink in the basement, they put their sump pump right in the slop sink, and a lot of them will open up the trap on the floor and just dump it right into the sewer. So it's something that we have to be vigilant about.
Yeah, absolutely.
the only other question, which I think is just a question that is probably so detail-oriented. So when you say a word like asbestos in a hearing room like this, folks would get perhaps concerned about it, but I'd like to understand maybe at a later date what that means to the public and what you do to, I understood your explanation of sleeving it and how you have gone through that process, where it is, and you could see I'm sure you know where I'm
The
getting.
asphalt, the
Asbestos.
asbestos cement pipe, it's fine when it's intact.
Right,
It's a danger to the person that's working with it if you're trying to cut it.
right.
With a saw, you have to keep it wet, there's procedures to follow for safety issues. But the water itself, there's no asbestos traces that comes from this
Okay.
pipe. So
All right.
there isn't a worry about that. It's when it breaks.
Okay.
And when we remove it now, we're required to take it right out of the ground.
And there's an abatement process and
Yes.
permitting, and everybody else is involved in that
Right.
process.
The nature of
Okay.
it is similar to what's known
What-
as transite in the electric insulation.
I know a little bit
And
about that,
you basically
yeah.
just fracture it and bag it and go off. As Tom pointed out, if you're cutting it, that's the only time you create actually an airborne asbestos issue. But if you are wetting it, which has always been the process for asbestos, I happen to be in the power industry with the ongoing stuff when it came in '74, and I have a
Right.
manual this thick at home that I helped write for my power plant.
Okay.
And the issue is, as long as you handle it correctly, you don't have a problem with the asbestos. As far as an entrainment into the septic system, the sewage rather, it is not an issue, as Tom pointed out. It's pretty well bound. Most of our issues are actually, have tended to be more external as the degrades from the outside because of the brackish water and and stuff over time just softens it. You also get vibration in the ground from vehicles passing and stuff like that help promote that.
And you do inspections that kind of monitor that on a...
Right, we have a camera and wash truck that we actually have used in the department ever since I've been involved with the town. And, right now it's down for maintenance because we can't get parts like everybody else in the world. But, it's very effective on the job, and the crews have tended to be out there in front of it pretty well. At least in my experience with the town, both before and now.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. And then the second question, I'm sure it's particular to what part of town you might be in, and there might be differences in what material was put in the ground at the time. But what would you say is kind of like a rough ballpark for how long it takes on average to kind of start and then complete a repair?
It depends on the nature of the repair. If it's just a leak, you're going in to dig, you're gonna put either cut the piece of the pipe out,
Yeah.
replace it with a couple of sleeves. If it's asbestos cement, we try to get it out of the ground and use plastic now. We've got ductile iron out there, but I would say the everything that was done prior to Sewer 2000 is probably asbestos concrete.
Yep, yeah, definitely would be. And I was an engineer on the staff working to put in the cured-in-place polyester pipe on Plymouth Avenue, and on a section of the gravity main. And we had done about 100 feet without any issues. When we moved to the next section, that portion of asbestos pipe basically collapsed in the clean-out process. And, the sleeving took about a week's time, and the replacement of, the equivalent distance of pipe between manholes took us about 5 weeks,
Yeah.
including the pavement coverage over.
Yeah. So the asbestos would take, I guess, a little bit longer if it doesn't cooperate then.
Well, asbestos only because of the removal process.
Right, yeah, just,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it's longer now, because at that time, you could crush it, cover it, and leave it in the ground back then,
Yeah.
which you
I
cannot
have
do
to
now.
take it out and
Yeah,
bag it.
that changed about 6 years ago? Thereabouts?
Yeah, about 6, 7 years ago, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thanks. Is there anything, Jim?
No, I'll hold off, thank you.
Okay. Lynn?
I'll hold off as well.
Okay, awesome. And then I guess for maybe a lay person tuning in, could you describe, I guess, how the repair process, the order of operations that you guys go through when you're conducting a repair?
If you're talking about the current force main job, or you're talking just in general,
Both would be great if that works for you guys.
okay, basically, if it was a gravity main section, we were going to line it, okay, as a repair, because we had detected deterioration, which was still repairable.
Yep.
Then we would be cleaning it with a wash truck like we have, camera it, make for final inspection. And then the polyester pipe cured in place comes in basically as a nice, big, flat, long piece of pipe that you actually inflate with either hot air or steam. Get it to a temperature which will cure the resins that are in it, and the resins are added as you do it.
Yeah.
And that swells up into the inside of the pipe, and it's taken care of. When you go through a manhole, you actually have a Dutchman pipe that split in 2 halves that goes through the entry and exit to the manhole, so you can run the pipe, the new polyester pipe that you're carrying out, all the way continuously to the next manhole or wherever you're going to terminate the operation, and then all you do is go back to the manhole and cut it off at the entrance and the exit where the pipe was, so that the manhole still functions, because the manhole is there as a trap and a cleanup for those purposes. If it's the ductile iron, we did do polyester cured-in-place pipe back on Avon Street back circa 2000, I believe it was 8 or 9. That would be subject to check, but what is being proposed, like right now, that process, we had a failed force main at that time, coming out of the Avon pump station that went up down to Canal Street. Once we had sleeved it, we took it all the way up to Assumption Road, and we're entered the gravity main again. But that was a fairly involved process just because it was a very long run.
Yeah.
The alternative to a lot of that stuff is, you're going to do sections, you try to analyze as best you can, and we had a program doing that, which I believe is still continuing, that where we would be looking at evaluating, like the asbestos mains. Do we have an issue in environmentally sensitive area? One of the areas we lined was everything that was basically on the, off of, paralleling Assumption Road and the roads that fed into that general area. A lot of that was paper road, and the sewer main went out into Assumption Road area, gravity, but we were lining those areas to start because we were concerned about issues there. Likewise, the old Wrexham Beach, that was an area we went into to look at it. As it turned out, somebody in good wisdom had actually put poly pipe in that whole area, which was being environmentally sensitive, A, and B, a significant private property stretch that we probably, if we ever had a spill, would have had litigation that may still be going today, if it had happened back then. And fortunately, we didn't have to do anything because of poly pipe. I'll let you take the next piece.
The Plymouth Ave project, back in February, we went in there with a consultant, and we did some testing, some cammering of the main. It's a cement-lined ductile iron pipe. The inside was in great condition. It was about 2 weeks after we completed that inspection that we got a call for what we thought was a water leak.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually was a sewer leak. And it didn't show through, the concrete kept it from breaking through. So eventually, the concrete wore. In that short period of time, it must have been very thin when we went through it with the camera. But that's where we had to cut out that 8-foot piece. And what they've done now is they've run that line down the middle of Plymouth Ave. That is a temporary bypass that will run from the pump station up to the top of the hill. They will then go into the gravity main at that point. And then we'll be able to line the old main. They'll run pieces of that black poly pipe, and they'll fuse it together as they feed it into the existing pipe. And then they'll pour a slurry around the inside of that poly pipe between the existing pipe and that new pipe to keep it in place. But that's the process, and to try to slip line that force main. It's probably the most economical way to do it right now.
And of course, all of that will be pressure tested and checked before it returns to service.
Awesome. Thank you. Do you have anything, Jim?
Just a quick one. So we're lining pipes with pipes, right? Different material. Does that decrease the capacity of the pipe, or is it just so minimal a change in internal diameter that it does?
I'll give Ken the opportunity
I'm
to
Ken
speak.
Ryan. I'm a
Hey,
new hire in the engineering group.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So the existing force main is an 18-inch force main, and then the one that we're putting in is 16 inches. With the wall thickness, it's a tight fit, so it's going to squeeze right in there. The new pipe is nice new pipe. The plastic pipe is very, very smooth. By having very, very smooth pipe, you can actually put more water through it. The turbulence causes an increase in pressure, which decreases the amount of water you can push through it. So just by nature of it being smoother, it actually increases some of the volume capacity, but then the size of it decreases. So overall, it is a decrease in capacity for that force main, but that station was way over designed and is flowing way under what the design capacity is. So it's fine the way it is with the 16-inch pipe.
And the only thing I'd add to that is most of that will be taken up by longer pump runs as opposed to where we were before, if in fact we have a capacity issue. As he pointed out, the fact that this pipe is smoother, we have less friction flow. And that probably is a good offset, particularly as you age, cement line pipe. It usually doesn't get any smoother.
Makes sense.
No, I just want, thank you, it's nice meeting you again, because there's people listening, people will be watching remotely afterwards, and so I think it's important they have a chance to understand how this works.
Sure.
And I'm sure a lot of them will ask, well, if you make the pipe smaller, they'll be able to handle it, and so, I appreciate you taking the time. So the way I understand it is 18 inches to 16 inches, but on the ID, but because it actually you're reducing friction, the total actual flow component of the pipe is not diminished that much.
Yes.
In layman's terms.
Yes. Good summary.
Yep,
Thank you.
very good.
Lynn?
The flow, just really quickly, so the flow component, when you go from 18 to 16, obviously, you've got 16, the amount of flow going through, it never reaches that capacity. It's always a portion of where you are in that pipe. So if you explained, I know a little bit about the process, so just explain it to the public. and
Sure,
the
if
board.
you're limited really by the pumps. So if the pumps were to run continuously, constantly, that would be your limiting flow. But these cycle all the time. So you might have a little bit of a longer cycle time in order if you did have a decreased capacity, but it's not significant to the overall operation.
Right.
And the capacity is available in the wet well, which can absorb some of the excess flow.
Yeah, and there's a large wet well that's there, so it has plenty of time to stay in the wet well while it's pumping
I
out.
understand that, I just don't know that. Yeah. Thank you, that's it.
Yeah. Ken, was it your son that was valedictorian of his class who just graduated?
Yes, it was.
Congratulations.
Why, thank you very much. I'm very proud.
I would say, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. He's a high school graduate. That's behind him. We gotta move on. What's next?
Always looking to the future, right?
Absolutely.
Nice. You deserve to be very proud. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then just pivoting to less fun and off to happy things, I guess, right? So the emergency repairs that we approved at town meeting, while you guys are kind of, doing some work down there, are you seeing deterioration beyond that area, or is it looking pretty good?
We found one area on Second Road that we're going to have to address.
Yep.
And there's also another section down on Island Street that we went in and did a repair earlier in the year that we may have to address sooner than later. So there is 2 locations that we've found since February, additional,
Yeah.
Those are gravity, right?
and those are all gravity, yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have like an autopsy report for what might have caused it yet, or is it still kind of early to kind of...
We're thinking it's the way that it's sitting in the brackish water and the fluctuation of the tides, they're in marshes, so.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Thank you.
The principal issues, the external is one of the issues we deal with. The other issue we deal with is if for some reason the sulfur dioxide content within the sewage and stuff got high, then you have an acidic condition, and that will help deteriorate from the inside. So you can have a two-way attack.
Yeah.
In some spots, we find it very mushy. We're afraid to even put the jetter in there because it will tear it apart. So, as you expose it and you try to put a couple it keeps falling apart on you. So it's frustrating when you think you got a good connection, and then the next thing you know, a little bit of dirt falls from it and lands on the pipe and breaks the pipe. So you chase it up the street.
That's tough.
Yeah, so some of it's in tough shape, but it's something that we're going to have to address sooner than later.
Thank you, Tom. Jim, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. Lynn?
All set right now. Cool.
Okay. All right. I guess the next one is just, how often do you guys do inspections of the sewer line in various parts of town? Is it an annual basis, semi-annual, or how often do you guys do an inspection?
We do a section every year. We record it, videotape it.
Yep.
And then, we find that the situations that need to be addressed sooner than later are addressed immediately.
Yep.
A lot of it has to do, a lot of the connection issues come from the house service where it comes out to the main. And a lot of times that's where you find your problem. It may settle, the pipe may just come apart a little bit. In the older section of town, you're dealing with clay pipe. There's a lot, and like down in Brant Rock, there isn't even plans to some of the homes down there. That's how old it is.
I think the only thing to add would be, we do additional inspection anytime there is a fault or failure.
Oh, right. If we have a blockage somewhere, we get a call for a blockage.
Yep.
We go out and we'll camera the line to see whether it's the lateral or the main, and we make the determination of then when to dig. One of the problems down in the Brant Rock area is that main is about 12 feet deep.
Oh, nice.
So where your water main is only around 5. So it's a big difference. You need the shoring, there's a lot more involved when you're digging with sewer than you are with other, drainage of water.
And out of curiosity, is it usually the older parts of town where you're seeing clay pipes, or where?
It's mostly the services coming from the homes. We've actually found the old asphalt, like tar paper pipes, and then you've got the terracotta clay type pipes. So we like it when we've come across the plastic.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a lot easier to work with.
The science going to be a good day for you.
Yes.
Nice. Did you have anything, Jim?
No, thank you.
Okay. Lynn?
Just quickly, so when you described that you do a section every year, is that something is there a report that folks could go to understand your scope of work and where you're working and what the plan and pathway for?
Yeah, I mean, they bounce around town, they try to do different sections, do one this year and then another section next year, but they, and spread it out a little bit throughout the whole district.
Okay,
So they try to do that. We have all the videotapes. They do reports. So that, people don't normally ask for them, but they're available.
yeah,
They're available for our consultants to view.
okay.
So you're more than welcome to view them if you
I'm
want.
just curious about the process, so.
Yeah, no, they're available to see, so,
Okay.
yeah, we have a library.
Oh, I'm sure you do, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's got, it's very deep and goes
Oh.
on for miles.
Very
Okay,
interesting.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
And I know we've discussed this when we met before, Dave and Tom, but we do register in the Nielsen ratings for these meetings, so just just for the public's benefit,
Sure.
I guess what areas do you think are most critical for the next sewer expansion, if you think that's something we should be doing, and what areas do you think are kind of top priority if you think we should expand the sewer system?
You haven't updated it since when they were looking at the Black Mountain area?
No, there's the Black Mountain area, we've done a study. We've done a study in Kent Park. Those two, we've actually thought about that line that is abandoned now that runs across the marsh. Could actually be used as a force main at some point, if we wanted to sewer over there in Kent Park. That's an option that we have there. We talked about bringing it from here at the intersection here of 3A and Ocean. Someone had mentioned that a lot of the septic along the businesses here have failed. McDonald's and a few of the other ones are they may not have failed, but they're close to failure. Their life expectancy, those were thoughts, the Hill, not Telegraph Hill, but Mariners Hill was another area there. So those were some ideas, bringing it up. I know the cost, just for permitting has grown astronomically from the last time they looked at bringing it all the way up to the high school. So making those river crossings now, the permitting is very difficult.
What
Just
do
to
you?
amplify, one of the reasons the Black Mountain area was looked at was because of Webster 1 and 2 wells, where the nitrates tend to run a little on the higher side, but some of that may be attributable to an awful lot of lawn treatment as opposed to septic system issues. So you're only solving one part of the problem.
Totally, yep. And what do you guys see as kind of the roadmap or something that would help you guys facilitate progress on that front for expanding the sewer system?
Well, I think first and foremost is funding. I know there was a split at one time, a 60-40 split between the general fund and the wastewater ratepayers that helped with capital projects. I think something like that may have to be looked at again in the very near future, only because of some of these capital projects that we're finding we may have to address sooner than later.
Basically, that 60/40 was in existence when Sewer 2000 extension was put in place.
Yeah, and I know I've talked to a previous board, and I've talked to Michael also about this. The previous Board of Selectmen was receptive, maybe not at the 60/40, and that's what we talked about. You know, maybe it isn't 60/40, maybe it's a different split.
Sure.
But it's, I think the whole town benefits from the wastewater. It's a beach community, we want to keep our beaches pristine, and that's critical. Wastewater is critical to doing that.
And do you guys ever have a problem, I guess, where you put sewer in a certain area and there are like holdovers and folks who just won't connect to the sewer system?
There's roughly 13 or 14 customers right now that aren't hooked up. But I've been in discussion with the Board of Health, and they're sending letters out to those residents that haven't connected, telling them that they have to connect now.
That's a holdover from the Sewer 2000 because a number of people had just gone through the Title V to upgrade their septic systems. And of course, that's a big financial hit to you directly there, and then to get hit with the connection charge and the betterment charge as you go forward from the sewer. That was part of what carried that over. But 20 years in, I would say that they have recouped all of their investment in the Title V, and now it's time to connect.
And as these homes sell too, they're required to make the connection.
It's definitely a seller's market right now.
Yeah.
Did you have anything, Jim?
Are you finished with your generals?
I just have one more, and then the floor is yours. Okay. Did you have anything, Lynn?
I think I'm good with what's going on right now.
Cool. Okay. And then actually, this is kind of a two-parter, I guess. So, I mean, what do you guys find to be the most effective method to keep the public updated on the progress for the emergency repairs? I mean, I know Sean used to, do Facebook posts and things of that nature. So I guess it's a two-parter. Like, what's your game plan to keep the public updated? And then I know it's early, but do you have like a ballpark estimate for when the repairs might be completed?
Dan?
Sure, so the contract that we issued for that Plymouth Avenue force main repair has a 60-day clock on it.
Yep.
So it started on May 26th, I believe, so it puts us into like July 25th. So that's a 60-day fixed time. Contractor wants to be out of there sooner. Hopefully he will succeed in that. So that's the schedule for that particular repair.
Thank you.
Right, we don't have a Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, we can take advantage of the town's webpage. We're in the process of getting a social media platform set up, so, but it's not in place yet.
Sure.
And at that point, we're hoping we'd be able to let everyone know
Yeah.
up to the minute, once that's in place.
Awesome. Who's carrying the rock for you guys on the social media platform?
We've got a consultant doing some work for us right now, and he's done it for a couple of communities.
Sure.
And it seems to work out very well.
Awesome.
And I've spoken to the directors in those communities, and
Yeah.
they've been a godsend
Awesome.
to them, so.
And, I mean, I would have no issues with reaching out, to Marshfield Community TV if they wanted to have, a show on the subject, and we go forward from there with Q&As for people.
Awesome.
You know, I know we were hoping to have this done and completed before the summer season, but,
Yeah.
we're going at the quickest we can right now, and then we've got Surf Ave coming up behind us. So
Yeah. Yep.
the gas company's out there this week, so.
Did the consultant you guys hired for the social media, did he give you kind of a completion date, or is he still kind of working on that?
We're working on it now, just trying to develop the platform.
Awesome.
And as far as the particular force main job, we did post it on the Marshfield website.
Awesome.
So it's on the front page there.
And all of the contiguous people were noticed formally, with a written notice.
Thanks, guys. Did you have anything to follow up, Jim?
Just a couple quick questions if I could. Educational again, how long is PVC pipe? I know the asbestos pipe is gonna last for millenniums. Of course it doesn't. What is the current estimate on the PVC liner?
So the liner we're using is actually polyethylene.
Polyethylene.
So it's a little different than the
Not
PVC.
Yeah, polyethylene.
And I come from doing a lot of landfill work where we do landfill liners, and the liners are made out of the polyethylene and exposed to much harsher conditions, and they're supposed to last for hundreds of years.
Hundreds.
Yep.
So this should be a one and done for quite a long time.
Yeah, and the poly pipe that is in the old Rexham Beach area, I believe goes back to the late 70s, early 80s timeframe when that was installed, for the connections further down before you actually get to the Humbrick section of Duxbury. Now, and, that area, that would have been 2008, I believe, or 2009 when we did the visual inspections in that, and it looked excellent, looked as good as the day it was probably put in.
That was the Blue Brute.
Yeah, the Blue Brute pipe, I believe, yeah.
And that's polyethylene.
SDR 35
Yeah,
stuff,
the
yeah.
900 or
Yeah.
the
So that's
800?
polyethylene as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so we're talking to the public on how you go around and you look at different sections of the pipe with a camera or a truck, everything like that. And you said you do sections each year. I was asked about that as well. And then you talked about a specific job where you did the visual inspection of the pipe. You look on the inside, obviously, a lot of the deterioration seems to come from the outside in rather than the other way around, maybe. And then you said 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, although it looked good, there was a failure.
Right.
So, does that, what percentage of what's your confidence that when you look at the inside of the pipe, that it looks good, but it's just really like, just a small amount of pipe, and you try to, look good, and then you drop, a rock on it and it cracks. Is that really a good indicator of when things need to be done, if something could go from good to?
See, a lot of this pipe has got a coating on it. So when they set the pipe and they're using an excavator and they scratch the side of the pipe, they've scraped all this protective coating off. And if you saw a picture of what that pipe looked like that we replaced, it looked like a shark had taken a bite out of it. It was all rigid up and down, jagged.
They didn't take the
pieces.
time laying.
No, but that's what it looked like. But, so what we're thinking is perhaps that it was damaged when it was installed.
So you think that's a one-off more than something we're gonna see more of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, if you have a coated pipe and you have a section where there's a holiday where there is no coating or just damage like Tom just described, that becomes an area in which corrosion concentrates on the pipe. There's electrons in that salt water looking for a place to call home, and it's going to corrode out the iron, and it's going to corrode it out right in that small pocket. So you can actually have the situation that Tom described where the cement line looks good. And one of the things, we have to research it to see, we had a discussion on this today, myself and Tom, and one of the things I wanted, in the power plant world, one of the things we would be using for that sort of thing would be an eddy current test. An eddy current test, where basically you're running a magnetized test down the pipeline. If there's a discontinuity in the external pipe, it should show up as a magnetic flux
So that's way better
signature.
than the visual is what you're saying.
Right, and that lets you examine the outside of the pipe on a lined pipe.
Correct.
Okay, and it also, in regular pipe, it lets you examine the external surface, and it also, if there's a score or a scratch inside, the pipe, it'll also show up as a magnetic anomaly on the, basically, it's just an
That makes
oscillograph
sense.
that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I don't know how practical that is for the sewer world, but that's one of the things that, staff can research
Right.
and find out if it makes sense in areas like this where something just happened, we go for it. I mean, right now, the section we're dealing with is gonna be completely relined, so it's put to bed. It would be, where do we go from here, and where else do we have the force mains? I think the only other places are some of the side streets onto Ocean, like Mac Terrace and some of those that come out. They're a much smaller physical force main there. I think they were like 6 inches. I'm not sure, I won't swear to that, but they're not as large because the pump station just isn't taking that many pieces of, property connecting.
The reason why I'm really glad you had a chance to come in, so we can, everyone, citizens have a chance to hear this, and I want to thank you all for coming in, I do appreciate it. Because I think communication is a really important part between these two boards, as well as the public understanding that we're working together to solve the public's problems, and that both teams are aware of it, because, we have the financial side for CapEx and things like that, but if we're not aware of those needs, then we can't plan adequately as well. So one of the things that I saw over the last, I don't know, few months, whatever, is we seem to have had an uptick in amount of water, sewer that has gone down. Now, maybe historically that's not true. Maybe it's just I'm more sensitive to it because it's something that I'm thinking about and I wasn't thinking about as much before. Does it seem like things are upticking and we might need to devote more resources to this, or is it more of a steady state of deterioration?
Well, the two areas that we're working on now, the force main came out of that break. We had inspected it so that we could make a determination of whether or not we needed to replace that force main and downsize it based on the pumps at the Plymouth Ave pump station. So that was the original project, was to rebuild that pump station. Now this force main issue has now created more work. And, so now not only are we thinking about what we need to do to upgrade the station, but now we have to upgrade the force main to carry whatever we produce from that station.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. So, more in general then, rather than specific incidents, does it seem like more things are failing? I mean, are we ending a 40 or 50-year life cycle for a lot of the pipe that was laid? Because some of it's going to be scratched as it goes in, and we might need to work more closely with you for more capital needs or projects to make sure. To me, it just makes total sense that if we're proactive and we have a plan for replacement, because we know everything eventually fails, and we're at 40 to 50 years out, it costs less money to do emergency repairs, and because we're being proactive rather than reactive. So that's what I was trying to get at. In general, do you think you're going to need more resources from us? We need to work closer together to achieve that goal, or you think how we're approaching it now is a good steady state path?
I think now we're realizing that at 40 years old, some of these pipes need to be addressed. And that's the whole idea of upgrading the camera equipment and the Vector, is that we can do these inspections more. Right now, both machines are down. One of them's 18 years old. The other one's been rebuilt twice.
These are
These are the Vector and the camera truck.
vacuum camera. Didn't we just do a camera truck?
We just got it, money for it.
Yeah, right now.
So we just got the money for it, so a new camera truck is, the old one constantly breaking down.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
old
that was
equipment.
why we needed a new one, because everything dies.
Right.
I got it.
And so by staying on top, we know the areas that we have to watch closely by our previous camera inspections. So we know currently where we may be having some issues and what may come up and bite us first. So we're trying to address those now.
So I'm philosophically.
Just add, if I could.
Oh, yes, sure,
Yeah,
Dave, go ahead.
During the time I had Tom's chair and the 2 years I had before that I was on the town engineering staff, we dealt with 3 gravity main break issues, okay? One I described, and then a couple of others that were located elsewhere. They were basically, as Tom had previously described, you cut out the bad section of pipe, you put a coupling over it, connect up, and those were a couple of the areas where we did end up going back and doing some slip lining. So we're seeing the breaks, but I can't personally say, based on my past experience, that we're really seeing a frequency increase per se.
I think what's happened in wastewater specifically is, going back a few years ago, there was a very big issue with collections, and that the money wasn't there, and that a lot of these capital projects, capital planning, wouldn't approve because the funding wasn't there. That funding, that collections is now turned around 100%, and that there is retained earnings being built up in the enterprise funds, more so now than before. And I got to thank the previous collector treasurer who helped us there in that collection issue. But, you know, now that we've got some stability there, you know, our projects are being approved, and we're back, you know, especially the plant. We did a lot of renovations in the plant. The plant is running top-notch right now, and we're running at about 98% coming out of that plant, clean water. So, and our permit is for 78. So, and going back those few years back, we were just getting it out at that 80%, and now we're up in the high 90s. So, the staff down there has done a fantastic job.
Well, money is always an important issue, right? So we have the planning side. Do we have the plans of what we need to do? And then there's the money side. So, do you feel that you have the plans, and you know if you could get money, that you know what you want to use it on, and you know what? So I guess that's one question, because you have to have the plan before you want to spend. And then I guess the second part is there's a lot of money now that is available because of COVID. I mean, $3 trillion have injected into the system. There's a state revolving fund for clean waters, AKA the trust. And then we also have the BIL, bipartisan infrastructure law. So both these have tons of buckets of money right now. So, you know, I do agree with you. We want to keep the cost for our citizens down as much as possible, and whether they're a user fee utilization payment or just general taxes. Do we have any active projects put in front of these two? Because right now they have, from what I understand, a significant amount of money that is a low-interest loan at 50% of total cost. And if you meet certain parameters, then you possibly get interest forgiveness as much, so the town we could go out on an aggressive program to do a lot of projects proactively and look for the money. So I don't know if we have any applications into the SRF or the BIL.
We don't have applications in either one of them. The only one we have in now is the ARPA funding that we've applied for Plymouth Ave and for Surf Avenue. There are a number of other projects that we could apply for, but we haven't had much success with this one yet.
Yeah, so this money is here, and some towns and cities are going to take it. So the federal government has put it in these buckets. The town's got some. So maybe it'd be a great opportunity for us now to be able to do exactly what Davey was saying, right? Is try to keep those costs down to the citizens. Apply for these things. If we don't get them, we don't get them, right?
Yeah.
Well, we applied for the SRF funding for some of the projects that we've done in the past. We've done, and at one point, the treasurer had told us that it's cheaper for them to borrow with the interest rate than it was through the SRF.
Right. I think it's probably changed based on the information I've gotten because of the whole COVID thing. It's just money was just put in a lot of different places. So it's kind of use it or lose it now type thing. I only bring that up because I became aware of those two projects and the amount of money that's in them. So maybe that's a path we could do, and we could get some plans for short-term or shovel-ready projects, and go for it. And even if it's expansion, right?
The only comment I'd add to that, I'm not saying we shouldn't go forward and try that, we should, but one of the things that I do know has happened post-COVID and stuff like that is a lot of things that are happening when you go to the state, in particular for anything, is delayed because of staffing issues and things like that, people working remotely. And we have experienced that in some of the other stuff we have gone out to seek from compensation and stuff like that. Now, we have the same story with any application we have right now with FEMA.
Well,
Yeah.
but I understand code slows
I'm
down.
not saying don't try, I'm
You
just
don't
saying,
know an application.
just because you put the application in doesn't mean it's
No,
forthcoming.
and I think we should work together, because I think
Agreed.
these things are really important.
Definitely.
If the money's there, we want to serve the citizen towns with your plan.
Absolutely.
So, that's what I was saying, Mr. Chairman, was, what is the short-term plan? What are the shovel-ready plans? And can we apply for these? And let's get the money, and, and that solves a lot of work for you guys as well later on down the road. All the other stuff is just small mundane questions. I know we spent a lot of time in sewage. I really appreciate you coming in and helping us understand better. Maybe we could do this again on water, because I know water's another whole animal. I know, Dave, you're very up on a lot of the different water issues, and I know the water sometimes goes with sewers. We talked about before with the Webster wells.
Yep. But one thing quickly on, since you brought up water, that is the last series of testings that we had that came last fall, we did not see any uptick in the PFAS, and, we have actually been moved to once a year now for testing as
We
opposed
stopped
to
them from
quarterly.
spraying the telephone poles.
Yeah.
But if,
So far, so good.
if we could take away, Dave, that maybe we could see those plans for short-term shovel-ready, so we could try to maybe take advantage of those projects, it would be fantastic.
I have 2 quotes right now for Second Road and Island Street to do the sewer main on both of those roads replaced.
Yeah, I don't know how it legally goes, you guys are the experts on that, but I think it has to start with your department, maybe it could start with our treasury, but I think those applications have to start from the DPW.
But
Well, I know the ARPA, it needs to be approved by your board.
Yeah.
And then all the applications are done through the treasurer's office, I believe.
No, I'm talking about these specifically, the SRF. and
Well,
the-
SRS, we can apply to the
That's what I'm saying.
SRF.
And-
Right.
And the point that I, follow up with the fact that right now, if we act now, you don't have to have another mobilization charge from the contractor.
Well, if we do those 2 projects
Right.
while the contractor's in town, there's no mobilization charge, plus there'll be only 1 charge for the asbestos removal.
So and we may have an advantage economically there, if in fact we can pull it off that quickly. That's the big if.
Yeah.
So, that's fine, I'm just talking about projects moving forward, there's huge buckets of money available because of COVID in these 2 funds. Right now, my information is they're very low interest loans, and the state fed combo will cover half of the actual cost of the project, so the citizens now get it for, get a bond, right? Buy one, get one, right? And then if we hit certain loops, then the interest is forgiven as well. So, I mean, it's a huge benefit for the town if we can jump on these.
What is the current SRF rate? Did they give it to you?
I do not have that.
Okay.
But anyway, so thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Jim. All right, Lynn, the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. I want to thank you for all the work, because I know you spent a lot of time
I did.
getting into that, and that's really valuable knowledge for the town. And I just would like to just recommend to the chair that we follow up.
Yeah.
There's so much new information here on,
great.
just on my own. And perhaps the next meeting that we could have an actual agenda and talking points that we could go through, and maybe between Michael and the rest of our folks, we can come up with some.
Sure.
a-
I know
a
Michael
plan.
had asked a while back about coming in on a monthly or bi-monthly.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And one question I forgot to ask you guys, and again, we appreciate you guys coming in. Could you guys give us, I guess, a breakdown of the reserve fund, or like money set aside in the enterprise accounts to tackle like maintenance and repairs and things of that nature?
Well, we have our budgetary items that we use for repairs and.
Sure. Yep.
We have the emergency reserve for each of the enterprise divisions.
Right,
That's what we used when he had the break,
Right. Yep.
fix the break.
But we budget a specific line item for maintenance and repairs, tools, so it's all broken out. And we can overspend the line item as long as we stay within the schedule.
Yep.
So, we can overrun the line item, we can't overrun the bottom line, but.
Mr. Chairman, may I comment? So,
Sure.
it's interesting you asked that. So when we were at the last town meeting, we did like it was $1 million for some project. I forget which one it was. That was kind of the emergency project. I forget which one it was.
There was $2 million that we bonded for Plymouth Ave.
So to build on what the chair's saying, does the town have like a set-aside emergency, because we know these are gonna come up, So we're not doing bonds, we actually can operationalize to a certain degree. It's sort of like every family's supposed to have an emergency fund.
Right.
You know, you don't want to go in, you don't want to go into the credit card or long-term savings to fund that type of stuff.
The Board of
Do we
Public,
do we have that, or is that something we should look at?
we have retained earnings, all right?
Are they
and that-
sufficient?
Right now, water has, I think, $2.1 million in retained earnings. Wastewater has, I think, 1.5. And solid waste is just around $1 million. We like to keep that $1 million as a rainy day fund. That's what it's been suggested that we keep it at right around $1 million in case of an emergency.
So how would you determine, so if you've got $1.5 million, you have a $2 million expenditure, would you burn through $500,000, bring yourself down to $1 million? Or would you leave the 1.5 in and then go out to bond for the full two? So I don't know how that works.
That's how you'd weigh it. You would determine, what you want for your cash reserve, and then what the bonding rates are, and if we, how much per year in interest would we pay that would come from the retained earnings.
And basically, when we bring a capital project forth, it's always a portion, it's retained earnings if we can do it, and the balance would be bonding if it's a project with, sufficient light to do it. We don't really know typically until August, sometimes September, but what the actual retained earnings that are certified from the prior year when we close on June 30th. We have a ballpark idea on what the number is, but until, the accountant has run it through the DOR, and the DOR has stamped off, yes, you're right, it really isn't money you can say is in the bank.
Sure. And what kind of an impact does a typical repair project have on your retained earnings that you set aside for repairs?
It depends on the scope of the repair.
Sure. Yep.
Obviously, this one would have a pretty big impact if we hadn't gone for the bonding.
Well, we're using retained earnings to purchase the Vactor. The Vactor is $535,000. So we're using retained earnings to purchase that.
That's an important piece of the maintenance issue, because if you have a blockage, like a restaurant might put out some extra grease and it clogs up, you might not be able to flush here at Town Hall if that happens down the road. So it's important to have the vac truck to come in. It has a hydro laser water unit that comes in, cleans the area out, and then we camera for any damage. And if there's no damage, it's okay, back in service.
Perfect.
If there's damage, then that's when the planning process comes in and the guys get to work.
Awesome.
We do it.
Yeah, it's the same thing I think we were talking about is, and so I appreciate that, is if we have a proactive plan and we know what we need to be doing, there's always going to be emergencies.
Right.
There's always going to be emergencies.
That-
But we
we
have
like
that
to-
proactive plan, and then because you will reduce the amount of emergencies because we're going out proactively doing it. Because it costs the citizens a lot more money, because now we have that interest fee we have to pay for 20 years. Versus if we were able to fund it up front proactively, it would have a reduced cost.
Right. And currently we have 5-year master plans. The water department has one. The wastewater, we're in the process of doing water's renewing it. So we need to do the same with wastewater next. So that gives us a 5-year window on what projects in the priority that they're needed.
That's good, because that'll help us determine, funding that we're gonna have to
Right.
meet your CapEx needs.
Right.
Surprises are always the bad thing.
We put that 5-year capital plan together, and update it every year. And usually there's the little projects in the wastewater that are out 5 years, the different projects that we have, so.
And there are projects that usually are in the queue, but out beyond the 5 that we
Right.
think might be coming
And
up.
then, you never know, you might have to swap them around, and
We know, for example, there's a periodic rework on the outfall pipe. And once that's done, that usually is out someplace beyond the next 5-year project, if we do it right.
well, I mean, that is another issue that,
Oh, sure, you had to bring that one up.
yeah, that outfall.
Important to get out
We
there.
just thought we were getting close to the end.
And he said
Oh,
if we
The
do it.
outfall is, we looked at that a couple of years ago at a price of about $600,000. And then we were restricted as to what time of year we could go out and do it, and it was February. So you're not gonna go out on a barge off the coast of Massachusetts in February and try to get anything accomplished. So, and now the price, just to get the divers, it's up over $1 million.
Yeah.
And then you can't get the pipe is specially made, and they don't have it sitting on a shelf, it has to be ordered and then made. And then you have to have these mats made that fit over the pipe. So it's a cumbersome project and it's very expensive. It can only be done in the winter
If
because of the fisheries.
Yeah, that's tough.
So that's a project that's gonna have to be addressed at some point.
When that current outfall was put in, the regulatory process has ratcheted much tighter since that point in time. And that was actually an extension of the original outfall that was at the old wastewater plant that was much closer inshore.
It will collapse at some point.
It will.
Talk about it. Gets
It gets
exposed.
uncovered all the time
No,
with
it's-
the
The ocean
tides.
gets it.
I want to say, from my perspective, Mr. Chair, Dave, Tom, and Dan, thank you very much for coming in. I think, for me, it was very helpful and understanding, and I loved it to, try to get some more increased cooperation like this. I thought it was great.
Sure. Yeah. Did you have any final thoughts or questions, Lynn?
No, I'm just appreciative that we're all in the same room having this conversation. The public has the ability to listen in.
I think this was good.
Yeah, it was very insightful and educational, and I think it was a worthy shout out earlier, Tom, for our former treasurer, Patrick. You did a great job increasing the collection rate, as you said. And Ken, I hope when your son graduates from college, we can keep his brain power here in Marshfield.
His mother would say yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. We appreciate you guys coming in. It means a lot, and very grateful.
Thank you for
Appreciate it. Thank
having
you.
us. Greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.
When I was working at Stone and Webster.
Have a good night.
You too, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Alrighty, so we are on action item number 1, but we did bounce around. Thank you. All right, so it's an application for some commercial parking permits at the fairgrounds. Michael, do you want to give us kind of a quick rundown on that one?
So this is very standard as we ramp up to the fair. We're getting ready now for Levitate. People have an opportunity to put in, these are all the homeowners that are around there and some of the groups. So when you do your motion, there's language in there to extend it to other people that haven't submitted their application, but in order to qualify, your taxes have to be paid, your utility bills have to be paid. You have to submit your application, you pay a fee, a cost per car for the parking.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions or comments, Jim?
No.
Any questions or comments, Lynn?
Very straightforward.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the list
Second.
of. Is there?
You want to read this whole thing, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's probably best to read it into the record.
Yeah.
Sorry jumping on you.
No, you're totally good. All right, so here's the list we have at this exact moment in time. All right, so I'll read the list, and then when I do the motion, just say, the list as I just read it. So we got Tom Healy, 58 Main Street. We have Deborah Ungst on 48 Main Street. Lynn Ford, 40 Main Street. Chris Regan, 215 Main Street. The Marshfield Agricultural and Horticultural Society, 140 Main Street. Jose Vega, 28 Main Street. Barbara Lannon, 205 Main Street. Michael Capabianca, 225 Main Street. Brian Doheny, 192 Main Street. Carrie Burns, 65 Main Street. Cherub's Child Center, Inc., 260 Main Street. Neil Frisbee, 101 Main Street. Reed McDonald, 95 Main Street. Marshfield Inn, 7 Old Plain Street. Robert Pattinson, 85 South River Street, a.k.a. Batman. Joseph Merrick, 78 Main Street. Adriana Hatton, 102 South River Street. John Coppenrath, 28 New Street. Sinville Marquez, 35 Main Street. Ryan McMillan, 17 Old Plain Street. Gordon McTiernan, 61 New Street. Diane Fleming, 14 Old Plain Street. Patrick Laurenastis, 220 Main Street. Steve Coyne, 37 New Street. So I'll make a motion to approve the list as I just read it into the record for the Marshfield Fair parking permits requested for 2022. For the folks who have submitted their application, paid the fees, taxes, and utility bills, making sure those are up to date and have been paid, and any other application that will meet those requirements in the future. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so action item number 2. Discussion and vote on request to teach yoga at Wrexham Beach. We see this pretty regularly now. I don't have any questions or comments to you, Jim.
No, yoga on the beach is great.
All right, awesome. Any questions or comments then? All right, so the board moves to approve the request of Melissa McKim, the owner of Unplug and Be Mindful Yoga LLC, to teach yoga on Wrexham Beach on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 a.m. and the following Saturdays, June 11th, July 16th, July 30th, August 13th, and August 27th, from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. An insurance certificate must be on file with the select board, and we have it on file currently, and Cindy Castro has approved this, which is great. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So discussion and vote on an application for an annual peddler's license, the meat and cheese project. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Michael? Pretty straightforward, it seems.
This is straightforward. They're getting an annual peddler's license. They want to use it for some events around town and the Marshfield Fair.
Awesome. Any questions or comments, Jim?
No questions, no comments.
Anything, Lynn? No. Alrighty, so the board moves to approve the request of Lonnie Simmons of 38 Highland Drive in Pembroke for an annual peddler's license to Massachusetts Catering Company, doing business as the Meat and Cheese Project, to operate a food truck from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. or as needed for the Marshfield Fair and private events in Marshfield. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so discussion and vote on an application for a temporary entertainment license for South Shore Buds. I believe this is an event that they're doing on July 23rd, Michael.
That is correct, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a rain date July 30th, 2022, with those same hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Awesome, and I believe that the 420 event that they did went off without a hitch, no issues or anything of that nature?
That is correct.
Awesome. Do I have any questions or comments to you, Jim?
No, live music, dancing.
Fun time. Any questions or comments, Lynn?
I don't feel that this site was intended for this purpose.
Sure.
And so, for that reason, I am not in favor of this particular event.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Noted. Yep. All right, so I will make a motion to approve the request of Ben Verga of Frozen 4 Corp., doing business as South Shore Buds of 985 Plain Street, for a temporary one-day entertainment license to host a community engagement event on July 3rd, 2022 from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. with a rain date of July 30th, 2022 from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. with live music, dancing by patrons, audio and visual shows, and amplification, radio and food, pending approval by the Marshfield Police Department, the Board of Health, the Building Department, and the Marshfield Fire Department. Is there a second?
I would second that.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, it's a 2-to-1 vote, so it passes. Okay. Number 7, discussion and vote on an application for a temporary wine and malt license for the Sangria Lady, and they're looking to do this for Lobster Fest coming up again on September 17th, 2022, and it'll be our 3rd Lobster Fest, which is pretty exciting. Anything you wanted to add, Michael?
Nope, there's people are starting to come in. You're 100% correct. So this individual vendor wants to make sure that they've secured their license.
Awesome. Okay. I don't have any questions or comments to you, Jim?
I do not.
Lynn?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I will make a motion to approve a temporary one-day wine and malt application for Barry Lynn Wise of Needham, operating as the Sangria Lady, for an event at 100 Central Street in Brant Rock on September 17th, 2022, aka Lobster Fest, pending approval of the Marshfield Police Department and the Marshfield Fire Department. And we did receive a certificate of liability insurance. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, perfect. All right, we're on to number 10. So it's discussion and vote on appointment of a representative to the Plymouth County Advisory Board. So similar to how the select board is the executive branch of the town of Marshfield, and then town meeting as our legislative body. For Plymouth County, the county commissioners are the executive branch, and then the advisory board is the legislative body for Plymouth County government. And basically, each town will appoint one member of the select board to serve on the Plymouth County Advisory Board. So I am currently Marshfield's representative. I like it, and we have a meeting in 2 days. So if you guys are okay with that, I'd love to continue to serve.
Point of order, if I may, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman. Michael, maybe you could help us out with this?
Yes.
Should I be making this motion?
Yes.
Cool.
That'd be great.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
So I would like to make a motion.
Thanks.
As a
Appreciate
member of
it.
the board, to reappoint Stephen Less as representative of the Plymouth County Advisory Board in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws 35, Section 28B, as amended for a term from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, and the advisory board meeting will be held on Thursday, June 9th, 2022. And you can second. I am looking for
I will
a second.
I will second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No, there's no aye. 2-0.
I'll vote nay and I'll
Two.
pass 2-1, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Good catch. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so we'll jump to number 13. So we've got a discussion on the vote for a request to use the town hall parking lot on Saturday, June 25th, 2022. You give us the rundown on that one, Michael?
Yeah, so the 25th is the grand opening of the senior center. The public's invited. So they were looking for extra parking places, so they're going to use town hall parking lot, as long as the board votes positively, and they will use one of their vans to drive people back and forth.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions or comments, Jim?
I have a quick comment. Yes, this is great. It's Saturday, June 25th, 10 a.m. till 2.
Yep.
At 10 o'clock, the doors open. At 11 o'clock, there is a welcoming address. At 12 o'clock, there's a catered lunch. And at 1 o'clock, there is entertainment. So it's an open house. Come on down. It's a beautiful, fantastic facility.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything, Lynn?
Nope, that sums it up.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the request of the Marshfield Senior Center to use the town hall parking lot on Saturday, June 25th, for parking for their open house from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And they will be shuttling people that park in the town hall parking lot with their bus. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Perfect. So number 15. Just so I don't have to read the list twice. I think everyone here is deserving of being reappointed. So I don't have any questions or comments. Do you, Jim?
Yes, I think I think they should be read out.
Yeah, I'll do it when I make the motion.
Yeah.
If that works for you guys. Yeah.
And then we're voting in total or for each person?
We could do it like town meeting when we do CPC. If you object to one, I'll stop. But if you don't have any objections, I'll just do all those in one bunch if that works.
For me, Mr. Chairman.
Cool. Okay. Any questions?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So I will make a motion to reappoint the following individuals to their respective office. Andrew Stewart, the building commissioner. David Carlo, the local inspector. Aldo Bertoni, the plumbing and gas inspector. David Camaletti, the wiring inspector. Karen Paulette, our veterans agent. Lisa Potts, our deputy veterans agent. Ed Timlin, our veteran graves officer. Lieutenant Arthur Shaw, our emergency management director. Bob Galvin, or Robert Galvin, our town council. Cynthia Crucell, our town historian. And David O'Reilly, our registrar of voters. Is there a second?
I would like to make a note that I am abstaining on the building commissioner.
Sure. So we'll do a motion to reappoint all the individuals as I just read, with the exception of the building commissioner for now. Is there a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that one's 3-0. And then I'll make a motion to reappoint Andrew Stewart as our building commissioner. Is there a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so 2-0 for that one. Thanks very much, Kate. All right, that's it. All right, and then I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from...
Yep,
Did we meet-
perfect.
did we
Meeting.
meet
Yeah,
this one?
thank you. From the meeting minutes from May 16th, 2022. Is there a second?
I will second that.
All right, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. All right, and then we got executive session coming up. So to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation that, if conducted in open session, may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the town. So I will go ahead and make a motion to go into executive session, not to return to open session. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Motion been made and duly second. A roll call is in order. Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kilcoyne?
Aye.
Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to go into executive session, not to return to public session.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Keller.